Who's next?
So, welcome to another 20 minutes of Active. I'm here with Jared. I got it right that time. So, thank you very much for coming on. And this is, again, part of Pride Month. And, well, we're going to talk a little bit to Jared here, find out a little bit of his story. So, I've got a couple of questions lined up. One of them we just discussed beforehand, which we'll get on to in a sec. But if you want to take it away and tell people who you are, first of all.
Well, thanks for letting me do this. My name's Jared. Swansea boy, born and bred, DJ on the side, social worker as a proper job, wife and 2 kids, muck about with a surfboard and a bike, play football, I'm terrible at football, and I kind of like 80s stuff.
80s stuff?
Yeah, like, you know, records, clothes, anything.
Okay.
Just love the 90s, do you know what I mean? I was born in 78, but I love the 80s.
I like that. And how old are you now?
43.
43. You do not look 43.
Oh, I like
you don't. You really don't.
Cheers, buddy.
First of all, the genre of music you played at the Glen Vivian, I loved it. And you, like, I don't know if you mentioned it then, but you play all vinyl as well, isn't it? So if we talk about that first of all, why do you still play vinyl? Is that because you like 80s stuff?
It's because I guess because I like 80s stuff, and I've always collected vinyl, like, since I was probably 14,
yeah,
which is like lots of time ago. So I'm thinking, well, I have this collection. Why sell it or get rid of it? Just keep it. Do you know what I mean? With like records and, you know, sleeves and album art. You know, you've got a piece of plastic to play the music on, and you get to look at the sleeve, look at the sleeve notes, look at the kind of the pictures. You know, I love all that, and I could probably tell you where every single record I got comes from, because they all have a memory. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think you get that with MP3s. You just download it. It's on your hard drive, it's on your phone, it's in your car. But I like the attachment. I like the relationship with the vinyl. It's so sad, isn't it? My dad was a big vinyl collector from the 60s. You know, he used to collect, like, you know, psychedelia, like hippie music and stuff. So I probably grew up around a lot of records. So I just like it. It's kind of sad, isn't it? And it's a bit of a novelty now. Do you know what I mean? Because like, everyone's got like their setup, their laptop, you know, their DJ console and stuff. I'm like, well, yeah, that's cool, but it's a bit different now, isn't it? So it's kind of come full circle.
I like that, actually, because it's got the cultural element to it. It's got, and I like what you said there about the memories that you attach to those particular records and the times, because that's quite interesting. I've never thought about it like that, actually, because I'd probably say when I was the age where, you know, LimeWire, when LimeWire first came out, so I was still in school at that point, so that was a very, you know, it was iPod, LimeWire, etc., etc. So, you know, I probably missed that generation to a certain extent, whereas and I've never looked at it like that. So that's quite interesting. You've said that. What was your first record that you ever bought?
I wish I could say something cool. I really do. Probably a Vanilla Ice record. You know, Ice Ice Baby.
I do.
But it wasn't Ice Ice Baby. It was just like I think it went to number 2. Someone kept it off number 1, but it was the second record. It was like play that funky music. It was like a cover of. Who did that? Was it lip sync maybe? But anyway, so that was my first record. But I don't normally tell people that. I normally tell people it was like Activate by the band Alternate.
Yeah.
They were like a rave band from '92, and that was like 7-inch. That was. Do you know what I mean? So that was probably my first record. Still got it now. It's all scratched up. But I've always liked the tactile element of records as well. You know, just going through a box and picking out a record and putting it on, and then queuing it up. I like all the analog, the old schoolness of just, you know, using the headphones and mixing it in. To me, it just feels a bit more. I don't want to upset people, but it kind of feels authentic to me. I'm sure people who mix off a DJ console or a laptop, well, that's authentic to them. But because it's all I know, and I'm thinking, well, I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to keep going. You know what I mean? I'm a bit of a stickler, and I don't like changing stuff. So when I get into something, I'm like, that's it. I'm not going to change that because it's my thing, and that's it.
And you know what? It is authentic, isn't it? You know, and also it's unique at the moment. I'd say, you know, like, because in an age where, like I said, a lot of people want to be, you know, DJs, or a lot of people are, you know, I mean, DJs for different genres. Primarily, like, they will opt to go to that form of DJ, like the electronic. Whereas, like you said, I think it's a rare commodity to come across somebody who can, not both offer vinyl, and that's their preference. You know, so that is interesting.
But the music I play, you know, it's kind of 60s, 70s, 80s influenced, and that's when the vinyls were made. You know, the music was made for, like, you know, the 12-inch or the 7-inch or the album. Do you know what I mean? So it just feels right to play like that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, my set at the Glenvivian, it was kind of, we started off with a bit of 80s, and then we kind of went into some disco edits and then some house music, and all those songs just, for me, they sound better on vinyl because I'm kind of old-fashioned.
How did that feel, actually, the Glenvivian set?
Oh, I just loved it.
Yeah.
I hadn't done a gig because of COVID for like a year, well, maybe about a year. So I was raring to go. I was just going a bit nuts. And it was just lovely to play with Steve. Do you know what I mean? I was a bit nervous about playing with any musician because I played with MCs in the past a lot, and they just take over. They just speak, rant, shout, rap all over your music, and they just like get in the way. So I played with other musicians before, and it hasn't worked well, but I was a bit nervous. But with Steve, you know, we messed about a bit in the morning. We got a bond going, and we had a bit of a rehearsal. Felt really good because he's so talented. And the music I play anyway just suits the sax. Do you know what I mean? There's loads of jazz in there anyway. There's loads of space for riffs and, you know, solo. So I just let him do his thing, and it worked really well, and I just loved it. I was raring to go, absolutely raring to go.
I could tell, yeah, I could tell when I was there. It was amazing. No, it was a really good environment to be in.
It's beautiful. It's flipping amazing in there.
Yeah.
I forgot it was there, to be honest, which is bad. I'm a Swansea boy. I've been there for 20 years, but it is a beautiful venue. Forgot how good it is.
And do you know what, to use, so obviously for the people listening, the Glenvivian is an art gallery, so typically you don't see that kind of stuff going on in, you know, an art gallery, especially in Swansea, I'd say. You know, that's something that, for, you know, as far as I'm aware, is pretty unique. And to see it being used for that, because they're both creative arts, and you know, you're talking about art exhibitions that people have created and they've put expression into. You're talking about music then as well, where, you know, music is an expression in itself as well, and it causes people to feel a certain way. And I think combining those two, which, you know, are, like I said, typically you wouldn't put the two together, an art exhibition and a, you know, and a DJ set with you know, with a saxophone, but it worked incredibly well. So it really did. What was the genre you played then? Is that your typical go-to, would you say, or did you
probably went a bit more housey for you guys? Do you know what I mean? Because I know I wanted to kind of fit in with the active kind of, you know, thing that you set up. But normally I kind of like it. Probably like more 70s and more kind of funky and more kind of 80s. I love the 80s soul thing at the moment, Luther Vandross, you know, Chaka Khan, Stevie Wonder, Prince. That would be my go-to. So I just went that was a bit modern for me. That sounds terrible.
No, but you know what, it was amazing. It was really, really
I loved
good.
it.
Like I said, it's a feel-good vibe with it. Going on to your career then, so when did you start DJing?
So for me, I started DJing when my mates came around my house. And my parents' house in West Cross, I was like 16 at the time. They came around with a pair of decks. They said, Jared, we know you want to be a DJ. We need you to be a DJ at our events in Mumbles. Here are some decks. I was like, flip a leg. No way. That blew my mind. Because in those days, in the 90s, you didn't have a CDJ, you didn't have like DJ consoles, you didn't have a laptop. If you want to be a DJ, you had to fork out, you know, on a pair of decks. So my mates come around one day with a pair of decks, just completely floored me. So we started from there, started buying records, more records, practicing. You know, setting the decks up in my room, in my tiny, you know, single bedroom room in West Cross on my bed, and then packing it away to go to bed. And then I dropped out of university, broke my parents' heart. One of those nights that I think they'll always remember. I always will remember that because, like, I floored them as well when I said I'm dropping out of university. I failed my first year of teacher training. I don't want to be a teacher. I want to be a DJ, and they thought I was absolutely nuts. And thought, what are you doing? You're going to throw your life away. So we had that kind of chat. And I didn't throw my life away, which you know, they know that, and we've sorted all that out now. We've prepared all that. So I've always kept it as a hobby. Do you know what I mean? I've always wanted to do other stuff. So I got involved with charity work and some youth work down in Mumbles, and now I'm a social worker. And DJing has always been part of my life, but it hasn't been the be all and end all. And I'm kind of glad about that. Do you know what I mean? It's just been a hobby, which has helped me love it more. I could have made it a career, maybe. You know, I've had mates move to London and do it as a job and, you know, work for record companies and stuff. And part of me wanted to do that once, but I've always loved Swansea. I've always loved living in Swansea. I didn't want to give that up. That was so important to me. So, yeah, and so I thought, if I put all my eggs in one basket, if I become a DJ and that's my job, I'm scared that I'll lose that love and I won't love it anymore. I'll just be like selling part of me that I don't want to give away. So I'm going to keep it as a hobby, which I really, really enjoy. Do you know what I mean? So I've had some great times. You know, it was lovely being involved in, I don't remember, the Monkey Cafe, you know, Monkey Bar.
Monkey Bar.
So president there for 10 years. absolutely loved it on a Saturday night. I'd warm up for Noah. Noah would come on about 1 o'clock, play till 4. And that was perfect for my music because I'd warm the place up. People would arrive, have a couple of drinks, get the dance floor going a little bit, and then Noah would take it on, and play more kind of R&B and big hip hop anthems, and kind of really, really suited. So we had a bit of funk and disco and 80s and a bit of chill out at the start, and I used to love that. And then Noah would come on and kind of rock the place. So that was a lot of what I did for like 10 years. And there was lots of stuff on the side then, so it's been really good. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
That's a bold move to take as well, isn't it? To decide that you're going to keep it as a hobby, but because you don't want to lose the love for it. I think that's a really important decision to make, actually, because a lot of people, like you say, it becomes something that's, I think there's really a lot of professional people, sports athletes as well as musicians probably get that. If it's day in day out, and I suppose that's more if you're compromising yourself for the venue. So, for example, if you were, I don't know, if you were going to weddings, or if you were doing
exactly,
if you had to compromise your style, I suppose if you're doing something that you love constantly and it's on your own terms, you've got the creativity involved in it, then then you're not going to lose the passion for it. But like you said, I think it's a good move to take, actually, doing it like that. Where have you played as well with?
I've never either been one to promote myself either. Do you know what I mean? It's a funny age now where you see everything online. Everyone puts everything online, and I've never kind of been like that. I've just sort of played for mates. Do you mean who kind of invited me? Do you know what I mean? Because Noah was a friend, and he said, "Oh, come play some records down Monkey." So and so was away, and then I kind of stepped in, and then it went really well, and he kept me going. So that kind of worked. But I've had mates invite me to play at their gigs in London and Bristol. And then I worked with a charity, and we did some stuff in Ibiza. So I got to play Sunset Strip, just down from Mambo and Cafe Del Mar, which was always one of my dreams.
Yeah.
Got to play in London a little bit. But that's probably about it, a couple of weddings and, bits and bobs, do you know what I mean? Random stuff. Festivals, my mates' festivals, or Brecon, or things down in West Wales. Nothing huge, but I've absolutely loved it all. But playing at Sunset Strip, Ibiza, in the day, just playing chill out music and, just the best tunes ever. I always wanted to do that. So to do that was an absolute pleasure. I didn't know I was going to do it until I got on a plane with a bunch of records, just hoping. And then, I did some DJ workshops, teaching people how to mix, holiday makers, Europeans, teaching them how to mix records, telling them what it's about, letting them have a go, and then we'd play some records around tea time and stay on until the sun goes down, and I flipping loved it.
That's incredible.
I absolutely loved it. And then I had some mates playing at Cafe Del Mar in the day, because it was different in those days. It was massive now in Cafe Del Mar. It's flipping thousands of people, but back in the 90s, thousands, it was still a big thing, but not the thousands of people that gathered there now. So my wife sang down there. As the sun went down, a couple of mates DJing.
Yeah.
We all clapped the sun together. It was just flipping amazing. Just amazing memories, and a pleasure to do that. Do you know what I mean? So those would be my highlights. But anything is a highlight. Where people are dancing, even at a wedding, at a club, at a tiny venue, someone's birthday, 5 people in a tent in Gower. I just love all that as well. It's all good.
Well, you just said, but there, no, that brings me on to the next question, which we talked about briefly beforehand. So we've talked about the highlights. What about the mistakes?
I'm so clumsy.
Mishaps?
I could spend 20 minutes on mistakes alone. I'm so clumsy. Do you know what I mean? I remember doing some gigs for Paul Whittaker. I used to run Pulse down at the university. I think he wanted to get the name going again, so he got some big DJs down, big house DJs down from Liverpool and Manchester, Miss Money, Pennies and Cream and stuff, and put them on the university. He said, and I was the one before, warming up the crowd. So I remember a couple of DJs there. There was a guy called John Da Silva, bit of a legend, house DJ. Just on before him, doing my perfect mix. I've been practicing, my bedroom, because I knew I had this big gig coming. Do my perfect mix, and then lift off the record that I'd done a perfect mix into, turning the whole venue into complete silence. So I was it's so embarrassing. He's there standing, you're feeling like such a chump. He did his perfect mix, but lifted off the record that we were supposed to leave everybody with. Yeah. So that's a big. I've done that a good couple of times. Another thing, in Monkey, right? It was a funny old place, Monkey. It was a great place, but it was lots of locals. Got to know a lot of people, and then people come over for requests and say, "Oh, can you play Billie Jean, and he played probably Billie Jean every night, probably down there. He played. So Billie Jean, someone asked for Billie Jean. She comes over. She's had a good few. She's got a large chest. She kind of hangs over the DJ booth. You know, in Monkey downstairs, it's like there's no booth. It's just a table.
Yeah.
You know, she got my decks there. She knocks the vinyl off. She knocks the needle off the record that's playing with her chest, descending every silence into Monkey. Do you know what I mean? She's so embarrassed, but she's also drunk. I've got to like put the needle back on. She's still drunk, falling over the place. I've got to deal with her whilst trying to keep the dance floor going. So, yeah, I won't tell you her name. She might be watching, but yeah, that stands out to me as definitely a boob. A boo-boo.
Yeah, literally. No, like, do you know what? And those are the challenges, I suppose. You don't even... going into DJing, you don't think you have to deal with that kind of stuff, I suppose, because you're thinking, I'm going to go out, I'm going to play this is how it's going to go, it's going to be great, and or whatever, and then you've got to deal with all these different elements, and I think it tests you as a
It does test you, because you don't know what you're going
it?
to get. You know, you've got people who've had a good shed load of booze or drugs, and you've got to deal with that behaviour. At the time you're there, part of that experience, there's no barrier. You mean, you're just there. Do you mean you're on the dance floor there, and you've got to just cope with it? Do you know what I mean? And still, you know, put a mix together, get people dancing, be part of their night. So,
well, thank you for that. That's no. I'm going to say the last story's got me, to be honest. But no, that's great. And do you know what? It's amazing to hear the journey you've been on with it as well, and the fact that you're still going with it, still loving it as well after the amount of time you've been doing it. It's nice to hear that. It really is. And thank you for doing the set as well in the Glenvivian. Like I said, it was incredible.
Oh, I loved it. Thank you.
Can't wait to watch it again as it happens. But yeah, appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Appreciate you coming on. Thank
Cheers,
you very
buddy.
much.
Thank you.
Stay active.